It's just all that you believe in. Future, everything you're dreaming. Don't stop, you can have it all tonight. Sit back, see it from a clear view. Fuck that, they don't gotta tell you just how high you're gonna live your life. Oh yeah! Rooted in creation, it gave me motivation. Collecting all these things, people and places. When it feels good, you know I gotta chase it right. What's up? Speak up. Often misunderstood. Catch up, bless up. If you tried, then you would get it done now. Right here, right now. Right here. Right now. Right here. Right now. Right here. Right now. Right here. Right now.
Glitter on my head, a light on my mind. I got a trip upstate to show 'em what's fine. I know my friend down south, she got me around, she wanna ride. I got too much on my plate, and I gotta find. I got a whole lot to say, a lot on my mind. I got my homie on the way to show 'em it's time we gotta ride.
Took me a long time, put in the work, got it from dirt. Baby, we gon' shine, baby, we gon' shine. It was a long line, I paid my dues, now watch me fly. Mama always told me, yeah, you reaping what you sow. Always had the sauce, I just kept it on the low. Gotta be water, I'm just going with the flow. Let's ride.
GM, 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 GM. Welcome back to 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. I'm Robot Fishcrawl. We're watching the empty auction down 12:52. This beautiful satellite that we picked up yesterday. Welcome in if you are in the tavern, if you are watching on YouTube or on Twitter, wherever you are. Welcome in. Thanks so much for coming. We have got 2 minutes and 11 seconds left on the auction, so if you're not there already, 9o'clock.live or nomo.wtf. That's nomo.wtf. They'll both take you to the same place. See, and we're currently sitting at 2.73 ETH from 0x5B26. I don't know who that is, but they already have a noun. So we'll see where we go with this. While you're at it, don't forget to pick up Nomo Noun number 1252, this yellow brick road we got yesterday for just 0.00069 ETH. That's $1.61 USD. 100% of the proceeds go to the Yellow Collective Treasury, which goes to funding artists on-chain, the Nouniverse, and beyond. Speaking of the Yellow Collective, there's 5 minutes left on that auction. Collective Noun number 315 has a bid of 0.017. If you want to pick up this moist candle, you can do so at yellowcollective.xyz. And if you are on YouTube or Twitter and you want any of these links, please come check out the tavern. It is in the description. You can join us here, right here, actually. You can join all of these lovely people and actually get up on stage if you like and talk to us, join the conversation. We'd love to have you. Back to what we were doing before. With 1 minute left on the auction. 20 seconds. How's everybody?
I got you to say moist
5
candle.
minutes.
Oh, never mind. 5
5
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, you got me to say moist candle. I said that just for you, just to make you happy.
I know you did. I appreciate it.
Well, now that we've got 5 minutes left, Alex SM coming in with the 2.79 bid. We can talk about our little schedule that we have for today. Couple things have happened recently. One, Shark Pickle Cone documentary premiered yesterday. We already talked about that quite a bit yesterday, but wanted to bring that up again today. Toadie's going to be here in a little bit. We're going to talk some more about that. And yeah, that premiere has happened. It is live. You can go watch it whenever you want, really. So go check that out. It is a really solid documentary put together by Stupid Buddy, the guys behind Robot Chicken, and much more, Masked Singer, a whole bunch of stuff. They also helped design the float, so definitely go check that out if you haven't yet. There is apparently an Ethereum film that is also premiering today. What is going on with that?
I have no idea.
I've
I don't
got
know.
zero
Cody was the one
exposure
who
to it.
put it by
It's about Vitalik. I actually saw it last night. Yes, the crypto was like one of the top mentors of the trailer, so he got to do like a private showing. It's pretty good. I mean, it kind of like goes through like why Vitalik created Ethereum and kind of starts back at the very beginning. Pretty
Like with
interesting.
not owning WoW pieces, or
What was that?
because he just didn't have WoW pieces, or what was is it that story or something else?
No, it was more just like, like about Ethereum and like kind of the journey. It wasn't strictly about Vitalik. It was more just like Ethereum, why it started, why Vitalik started it, and kind of like the journey. They go through like the merge and kind of the ups and downs and different parts of that. So pretty interesting.
That does sound interesting.
The entire documentary is just about how they came up with the roadmap, all the the merge and the scourge and the purge and the dirge, etc. That's the whole.
Dirge was a bit of a reach, but I appreciate the
much,
rhyming
honestly.
without the same spelling.
Hopefully not the dirge.
Also, hi, Tony.
Don't want, the dirge is for Solana. So
Oof. Ouch. Shots fired.
JK.
So great. All right. Well, you were the person I was going to ask about the Ethereum film, so I'm glad you're here.
Oh, who me? I haven't seen it yet. Actually, I'm excited to see it. Seems like they've done a great job of it. So, Jared, did you say you saw it, or you just saw that someone else saw it?
No, I saw it last night.
Nice. I'll definitely try to watch it tonight if my wife will let me. I'm not sure how she's gonna take that if I say I've got a movie. I've got a movie for us tonight for movie night. I actually haven't even gotten her to watch the Nouns documentary yet, so maybe we can do a twofer.
I want to see this pitch. I want to see how you pitch this because I can imagine that
you
your
please
sarcastic
record?
ass.
Yeah, please
I've got
record
a-
the pitch. That we'd really love to hear it back.
So I've got a rope, which I think will be instrumental.
No, because the thing is, like, for anybody else, I could see them like actually trying to sell it. With you specifically, like, I can imagine you would not be able to resist being like, "Hey, do you want to be bored for 3 hours?" Like, I just.
You've heard of the Bored Ape Club?
This is why I took over your garage to mine. You still running miners?
No, I haven't
Heat in
been.
the neighborhood?
Haven't been running. That's miners with an E, by the way. For anyone listening in here, just want to clarify.
We do not
Cody's
support forgetting.
trafficking.
I don't have any miners in my garage anymore.
just,
I'll be a
just
little
two
more
in your
specific.
just two in your house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 in my house, but those are legal. I have those.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
They're considered majors because they wake you up at night.
I made those, so you're allowed to keep those.
I made this. This one mine.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I don't run any mine. It's been a while since mining Litecoin has been profitable, unfortunately. RIP 2021 bull market.
I had missed the beginning. What are you trying to get your lovely wife to watch?
Oh, a double header, Nouns documentary and Ethereum film.
Okay. Got it.
Sounds like an exciting night, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, that sounds like
Okay, well, you don't
perfection.
count.
Yeah.
And then
I know. I mean, like, honestly, everybody in here is probably like, yeah, that sounds fantastic.
this
Bring
is
it
an
on.
appetizer to a rewatch of season 1 of Zero Pod, which is coming in at
even
just
better.
under 35 hours, but feels like a cool 2 hours at 10x speed.
We really should put up like a perpetually running YouTube channel that just loops Zeropod episodes.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or just like
It's actually a good idea.
a billboard, a billboard in New York, just showing Zero Pod.
A billboard
Cody's
in New York
single
that shows a
playlist.
single screenshot from Zeropod, and it just has probably my favorite quote we've ever had on this show, which is which is your wife saying, "Do people enjoy the puns you make?" And you going, "Not really." Just that in huge letters.
People just feel comfortable with what they expect. I think that's what it comes down to.
You Stockholm syndroming us with your puns.
You know, we
Yes.
make fun of you, but yet we'd miss it. We'd miss the puns if they were gone.
We have had this conversation before.
No. Well, I'm not going cold turkey on those anytime soon, so don't worry about it.
I know. Now you're dad too.
Add X2.
Anyway, we've got a whole bunch of bids while we were yapping. 2.91 is where we're at currently from alexsm.eth. So just to keep everybody appraised of where we're at, 4 minutes and 25 seconds left on the auction.
By the way, can we give a special hello to? I don't know why I said hello weirdly there. But I put the
Hello.
emphasis on syllable. But a special hello to Dystopic Hippie down there. Nice to see you. It's been a while, Yellow Friend. Always love seeing Yellow Friends turn up and say hello.
Speaking of, the Yellow Collective is, yeah, that auction is, oh, no, wait, it just loaded. 2 minutes left.
2
That's a
minutes left.
refresh. Amir Karimi coming in with a .018 on collective now number 315. So if you want to pick up this dot matrix candle on a base background, you only get one, Symbio. Then there's...
You said
can
you
do
wanted
so.
green candles, right?
I like this one. No, Symbiotech called it a moist background. And so I called it a moist background at the start of the show, but I refuse to do it anymore.
No.
Even though
Hey,
you
you
just
know,
did it
if
2
we
more
can
times.
arrange it in some way, maybe through vibes and like, you know, special prayers, it would be great to get a penguin today. Just saying.
Vibes and
Oh, we
special
just
prayers.
had one.
Yeah, and instead of FOMO at Yellow Collective, we have vibes and prayers. It's
Vibes and prayers.
Very
And
similar.
pride.
I mean,
Very similar.
sometimes
Pride
it
penguins.
is.
We do have one in the yellow prize wallet, a pride penguin. But
Oh,
yeah, I get you.
but you can
And,
have
you know, I could say it, but I figure I might as well tee you up for this. Why would it be serendipitous for us to get a penguin today, Prof?
Well, Robot Fish Girl, I don't know if you saw today, but Kai Sinet was gifted a Nounish pudgy penguin, and he opened it on stream, and it's now making the rounds on various social media. And shout out Cardno for that was the first share that I saw of it was coming from
Yeah,
Cardno.
thank God Cardno watches Kai Cenat because I don't think I know,
I know, right?
I don't think I know
Yeah,
anyone else who does.
Yeah.
So that worked out great. But that's amazing to see that he I know before he had a pudgy, like right around Christmas. I remember him opening up like a pudgy plushie.
Oh, nice.
But this is the first time I've seen
Wait,
the
so
Noun penguin.
Kai Cenat has 2 times as many pudgy penguin plushies as me. This feels
Apparently.
actually.
How do you not have any plushies? I mean, I know I'm delayed in getting you your Nounish pengu, but
Oh, you were gonna say delinquent, which I was definitely gonna.
like the plushies are at Walmart. Anybody can grab those.
I don't think we have them in Canada. I haven't seen them, so I think we got shafted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I
then
think I
also
got
means
an
you have to go to
extra.
Walmart.
You thought
get
you thought the SEC was bad. Here in Canada, they're blocking plushies.
They're blocking plushies at Walmart.
Yeah, they
Okay,
won't.
then.
They won't give us airdrops or plushies. It's really tough up here.
Yeah, we just have a problem with the airdrops.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of airdrops, totally going into a different place, but an interesting place. There was a letter that was sent by a couple of members of Congress to the SEC regarding airdrops
I saw
specifically.
that.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
I think not just a letter. I believe it was an intent to sue.
It was not an intent to sue, but it was it was asking for, let me read the exact thing, requesting answers from the SEC. So it was Tom Emmer and Patrick McHenry who have been very crypto friendly, and they sent it on the official Congress of the United States stationery. So I think usually when they send something like this and they're requesting answers, usually those either come in 2 forms. One would be like an actual document with the answers, and another would be you come before the various Senate committee and have to, or congressional committee, and answer. Anyway,
but technically,
I know what that sound means.
technically, though, every piece of correspondence in the U.S. is an intent to sue. So I am right. in that.
Oh, well, never mind.
Wah, 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 wah.
Then we got another bid. With 10 seconds left on the timer, somehow, we got another
This
bid, 2.97 from EA75.
It feels like these have been going up lately. What is causing that, do you think?
Presumably
I don't know.
ETH going.
Maybe, but it hasn't been though. It's been chilling pretty much. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw that a bunch of them were swept off of the floor too, kind
Okay.
of after
This would be
somebody.
my guess. This would be my guess is that people might be anticipating a fork because of the
Yeah,
Dune.
that's what I was
Yeah,
going to say.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking the question.
This is an interesting conversation, actually. There was an interesting conversation between actually you, Prof, and the Paperclip Boys and some others in the channel just about whether we might actually see the first instance of a minority protection fork in the case of a group of people who may emerge that are not happy about the Duna and decide to just basically have Nouns Classic. And I think they would be a minority because obviously if the Nounders have been dealing with the foundation and whatnot, then a majority of the tokens are obviously in favor of the Duna. So it could be an interesting dynamic to see play out. A sad one, but an interesting one.
Yeah, I still don't think that's what's going to happen, though. I still think it's going to be arbors. I don't think it's going to be a true fork minority protection.
It might be a
So-
combination though, too. Like that's something too. Like it's not always black and white. Like if the threshold remains at 30%, then it would be a combination because I don't think there's 30% of the DAO that would care enough to have a political stance on that and fork. But say there's 15% of Nouners who end up deciding they don't like the structure of the Duna. They prefer Nouns to be 100% permissionless, and they fork. Well, unless the threshold gets lowered, they'll need the arbors to get an exit. And if they do that and the arbors just exit with their cash, it's still the same result, actually. Anyways.
Is it though? Is it though?
only
So
difference-
here's my point, and I didn't fully express it when I was going back and forth, but it's going to end up that anyone who really is wanting to get out because the Duna is more likely to just sell on into a bid or something like that, and it's still going to end up being the arbors who
Well,
take it.
depends. So that depends on like if I decided I was against the Duna, I would not sell
Sure.
my Noun. I would probably fork. That would be
Maybe.
probably one of the few instances where I would fork if I really believed strongly in one direction or another that like this is not the Nouns that I signed up for. Or let's say it's Paperclip Labs if they decide that this is not something that they signed up for and they decide to fork, like that's a true instance of someone using minority protection of the fork. And I can see what you're saying, like if the arbors get in there, well, it's better than if the threshold was lower so that the arbors didn't get in. But in that case, say there's 15% of the DAO that decides they want to fork, and then there was arbors who didn't get on the boat in time. Well, they'll just fork anyway. Like if there's something that gets the momentum going, and people paying attention to the fact that there's still a gap between the current value of the token at 2 ETH and the current book value at 6 ETH, you're going to get arbors regardless.
We're going to get, so this is my problem with the fork, and this has always been my problem with the fork, is the fact that there's any opportunity for an ARB. If
Mhm.
there was a max where the maximum amount you could walk away with was what you actually, bought your Noun for, either bought it or on auction or on secondary, I would be fine with this. The fact that there's an opportunity for an ARB, I will never be fine with that.
So then you'll be fine with the Duna because that's what the Duna basically.
I would be fine with the Duna. Yes. And I mean, I think the Duna is not perfect. I think there's a lot of, there are some issues, but in terms of that part of it, I am fine with it. But I hate the fork for this reason because I feel like it's the way it's been used has been for that. I do not think it will ever truly be used for minority protection. In what I mean by that is that there will be another fork and it will actually start a new DAO and people will actually run it as a DAO.
But
It's
that's just because the griefers have never had a majority in the DAO. That's really the only reson why that's the case, right? Like
We'll see.
if the arbors who attacked the DAO last time had somehow managed to get a majority of the DAO, well, instead they might have just changed their strategy at that point to let's not arb the treasury, let's just take the treasury. And at that
Yeah.
point, that's when the fork would have been used by the earnest people in the DAO to say, well, no, we're not letting you do that. I mean, there's the veto anyway, but aside from the
Maybe.
veto,
Yeah.
right, then that might have been their opportunity to just leave at that point.
Which is possible. But again, I think what will happen is if people are leaving, they're going to leave. They're just going to leave. They're not going to stick around and try to still do nouns, but with another DAO, which is what
we
the
haven't
fork
seen we haven't
does.
seen anyone leave the DAO for idealistic reasons, or at
Yeah, we
least
have. So I would say that's not true because I would say in the first fork, there were people who left and they took a huge loss to do so because they had philosophical differences.
I think that was just a LARP. I don't think those people really thought, I don't think they ever thought that they were gonna make nouns version 2, personally.
Oh no, they weren't going to make nouns version 2, but they left for those philosophical reasons, and they did lose
Right.
money in that transaction. It's
Maybe
not like they left; they
I
weren't arbit. If that, you know what I
I
mean?
misspoke, and I guess I agree with you that people left
Yeah.
because they had different ideas about nouns. What I meant to say
Right.
was I don't think we've seen a group coalesce together and be like, we
No.
feel differently on this one important topic. We're going to fork away and make a new nouns. We haven't seen that happen. And maybe
Exactly. No, we haven't, and I'd be surprised if we do. I know what you're saying that this might be the time when we see it, but I seriously doubt it. I don't think we're gonna, but I could be wrong. We shall see.
yeah, it is going to be interesting to watch play out.
But I'll never be okay with the fork as it stands in terms of because of that arb. I think that was a huge, massive mistake.
You know what I was thinking yesterday? What does Gitcoin? What is Gitcoin's legal structure? What is the Protocol Guild's legal structure? Like, what are they using?
The Ethereum Foundation. I don't know about Protocol Guild, but I know Ethereum Foundation is using a Swiss foundation. I think.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a foundation set up in Switzerland. The Ethereum Foundation, as well as I think Uniswap too, maybe. But I'm not positive on that, and I don't know if the Protocol Guild has a separate entity. It probably does.
Yeah, I think where I'm sort of landing on this is like it does hurt my heart to think of nouns becoming a non-permissionless protocol. I think mainly because that was one of the things that really attracted me to nouns in the first place, and I know I'm not alone there. I do think the people who are looking into the Duna, like the Foundation, Noun 40, 41 of the other nouns, I think they have the best interests of the DAO at heart and the best interests of everybody in the DAO at heart. I would never ascribe any malintent or anything. It may well be that this is the best thing for like the long-term health of the DAO, but it does make me kind of sad to lose that permissionless aspect. And so I'm left feeling like maybe that's just like an idealistic, naive way of thinking in the current regulatory climate. And that's kind of where I'm left hanging. But it really feels sad to me that there's not a way that people can just be given permissionless grants, and that the onus of their own tax burden should be on themselves and not on any government authority that always has to overlook every single transaction between two humans. There was a time when people received their wage packets in cash, an envelope of cash, and responsibility to claim for taxes. And anyway, that's opening a big can of worms in the last 30 seconds of the auction.
Yep, we can circle back in a minute. But I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying.
I like having a wrap it up button.
Yeah, it works so well. It really does.
It really does. Like it does. It's not as obtrusive as saying, "Oh, by the way," but yeah. Anyway, it is now
time for FOMO.
You know the drill. Thumbs up the nouns you like, thumbs down the nouns you don't. If we get enough thumbs up in the first 2 seconds of a noun being shown to us, that is going to be the next noun that is on auction for the next 24 hours.
I see some people in the audience who might not know the drill because I see some new faces. So just want to let you know, if you don't know the drill, open another tab and go to nounoclock.live. That's where you're going to see this little oracle where you can vote up and vote down the potential new noun of the day. That's what RFG is talking about. So you can literally help us select the new noun of the day that will go on auction for the next 24 hours. And it's as easy as playing, hotornot.com, Tinder, choose your character, any of the above, essentially.
So it's like the original Facebook.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of Tinder, did you guys hear about the new app that's launching today?
A nice index card.
I don't know if we got it in time. It took a while for all the thumbs ups to get there, but it's a really good index.
Go on, index card!
Hey, we got it!
I like that.
That's a fantastic index card.
This is the guy that sits beside you in English class and copies your notes.
Copies your notes. Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Don't call me out like that.
Jesus. All right, well, now it is time for Nomo. So if you're not there already, nounoclock.live or nomo.wtf, that's nomo.wtf. They'll both take you to the same place. Once you're here, you're going to see all of these nouns arrayed before you. You're going to pick your favorite from among them.
Choose your character.
Spam click it with all your might every 10 seconds. Half of them are eliminated until we're left with just one. That's going to be the Nomo Noun of the day. Also, make sure you have signed in with your wallet and you're on OP or your clicks will not be counted. Very important. Sign in with your wallet. Make sure you're on Optimism or your clicks will not be counted. If you are on YouTube, the link is in the description. If you're on Twitter, you're going to have to come to Tavern and click it pinned above. 5 seconds left. Pick your favorite noun.
If you're on Twitter, how is 2023? I wish we could go back. All right, let's play.
I'm going for Flamingo Boxy. Flora
Of course
Boxy.
Flora Boxy. Yeah, you would.
I like spit.
I was trying to find the right word.
Spit leaking toothbrush is pretty good.
Yeah, that's kind of cute.
That's pretty good.
drool
I
all
really
over
like the
your
We
That
Are the
was my
World
second
noun, and
choice.
I like Moose Records.
Yep.
There's something about Moose Records that I just
Moose Records is kind of cute.
Moose Records.
I like all of those ones as well. So
Moose
those are on
Records
my
is
list.
our biggest record label up here in Canada.
It's just
That
like
would make
nature sounds. It's,
Yeah.
it's just an
Nature
hour
sounds.
long. They just release repeated hour-long EPs of just.
You would think that. You would think that,
Goodbye,
but
Moose Records.
you would think that, but it's actually all of the pop music that the entire world listens to. That's the actual Canadian music.
that actually makes sense.
Look
All
at this
right,
color
final
combo.
round. We have got
Cute.
A dripping toothbrush versus We Are the World. 3, 2,
We
1, fight.
love drippy toothbrushes. Come on, the toothbrush has noggles that are the
Toothbrush.
same color as the brush.
It's got to be
Like,
the toothbrush.
don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's got to be the toothbrush.
Okay. You just got to go with the obviously superior choice. There you go.
Toothbrush wins.
Fun fact.
Fatality.
Fun fact, in the Nouns OG collection, none of the heads have anything that goes off the side of the picture. So that's why you see the toothbrush has this like fading into obscurity effect on the left side that I think Gremplin came up with. Now we threw that to the wind when we did our collection. As you probably have seen, the sloth, for
Yeah.
example, has a bamboo stick that goes off the top and the bottom. And we have little boy, we have small boy fishing whose fishing rod goes down. I guess the one exception in the Nouns collection is plugs. I think the microwave
Yeah,
the
goes all
microwave
the way
has
down.
plug
Oh,
that goes.
washing machine.
Washing machine,
washing
microwave.
machine.
Only appliances. In the
Oh
Nouns
no,
OG.
the barrel wine.
The wine barrel, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's actually not that. I wonder what the hard and fast rule is.
It doesn't
if
go
it's
off
like-
to the left and right. It only goes off of the bottom.
I see. I guess that's what it is. So I guess we don't have any of those either in yellow. We'll have to think of adding a head that goes left to right somehow.
Yeah.
And the yellow collective was settled. Somebody settled it.
Fantastic. And we got
It's a
collective
pretzel.
noun number 316 is a pretzel with a
Pretzel
wave
wave.
on
Pretzel
a
wave.
based background.
Oh, by the way,
Beautiful.
we did get another bid on the collective noun 315 though. The green candle. We got a bid of
Based chimp.
0.024 while we were yapping.
Ooh, base chimp.
Chimp.eth. I don't know who that is, but they sound pretty based, and we'll try to find you on Warpcast and add you to our based yellow cabal.
I don't know who you are, but I will find you. And I will add you to our group chat.
Allow you to vote from the group chat. Actually.
That actually would be a fantastic meme to share. Right? That's
with,
hilarious.
with Liam Neeson.
And we will add you to our group chat.
My favorite like genre of one of my favorite genres of memes is just Liam Neeson saying various very jokey things in the Taken voice. Ted nailed it.
Okay. Yeah. So funny.
Can you assure me
So
that these
funny.
are not actually legally for children? Like
So funny.
no, they
So
just
really
say tricks
funny,
are
and
for
I'm not
kids,
gonna
but
say-
they don't enforce
not
that
gonna
by
say
law.
who,
Don't
but-
worry.
Somebody sent me a GIF one time because we were at a conference and they sent me one of the "I will find you" GIFs,
Control.
but it kept going. It kept going, and then it said "I will find you," and then it said "and I will squeeze you," and it was hilarious. So, and I still throw that back at him on occasion. Just
They
because
probably
it's
just
funny.
sent it to you because you keep calling them GIFs, and that just pisses
Maybe
them off.
Yeah,
that could be it.
yeah. I would.
It will always be GIF It will always be Twitter. It will
Do you
always be
do
the
you
Boston
call
Garden.
it okay?
These are
Twitter
things.
it makes sense, but do you call it graphics interchange format? Like I don't get.
Yes, I do.
That's actually what they use on
Exactly
the.
what I do.
That's what they use on the savannah in Africa. Giraffic.
Giraffic.
Giraffics
Did I
interchange
miss the
format.
Pope?
One nation under Jod.
It's a POAP. It's a joke.
No, Vitalik says it's a pope, and he's pretty adamant about it.
Alex says it, but Patricio
The Pope
says
says it's the
POAP.
Pope.
So,
Fun
Patricio
fact:
says
the
POAP.
Pope is not actually the Pope.
The other one I need to know is Felipe, or as what I call him. You guys called him Philippe, and he didn't say anything, but I called him Felipe the whole way through an interview, and he also didn't correct that. So we do need to know. Inquiring minds
if it's
know
Felipe.
if it's Philippe or Felipe Macedo from Build. We need to
Where is
find
he from? I thought he was French. I
Spanish.
could be
I
wrong.
think
Is he Spanish?
Macedo sounds Spanish. I think he's like Spain Spanish, but I could be wrong. So that's why I think it's Felipe. But anyway,
You're probably right. I was
He's just
probably
being
very wrong.
But you guys had four
He was
people.
just being very polite and not correcting me.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably used to being called Philip and all sorts of other things. But yeah, when my first son's name is a little bit different than a usual English pronunciation, and we would tell doctors when he was first born his name, and they would immediately switch to the wrong pronunciation, like right standing in front of us. So people just have a really hard time with names that are at all different from your standard.
And this is why I changed mine.
Well,
to Robot Fish Girl, because everybody can say
I was gonna
that.
Because everyone
I
could say fishy. No, like my.
I don't think that's the whole reason why you changed your name, but I mean, we
I'm
won't
still
get
not convinced that you're not a professional skateboarder.
I
am. Have you met her? I'm convinced.
no, but but my thing is like so the name that I had for a while and then the name that I use now are different. They're both from my tribe, but my original one was I didn't want to have to explain a 5-syllable 6-toned word to people. So I went, nope, 2 syllables, we're done. Anyway.
And now it's weird for me when people call me by my real name. It's very
Yeah.
odd. Episode 1, we rewatched episode 1 of DM Farcaster, and Adrian was calling me Kelly. Like, it was so strange.
I forgot Toadie's real name about 30 seconds after he left NFTNYC.
I'm literally never calling him that. So.
I don't know it.
I don't even have one. So.
I know it,
I have
but I will
seen
never
this
call him
man's
by
ID card in my brain. It replaced it with Toadie. I don't.
I will never call him that.
And yet, when I say that to the police officers, they think I'm. It doesn't work like that.
It's okay. I don't use the name on my
Or the
ID
border-
anywhere.
When I say that to the border agents, they never laugh. I don't know why.
They just don't laugh at all. We have
That's
a ridiculous amount of props going on right now.
We really do.
Yeah, maybe we could start with that. We do have quite a few things on the agenda.
Real quick, minor tangent, but Toadie, you asked earlier what Gitcoin's system, legal entity is. They're Gitcoin limited. They're just a British Virgin Islands company.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
because what they provide is not grants. What they provide is a blockchain-based toolkit.
They do provide grants. So
yeah.
Who are those going to? Because they don't KYC. That's why I'm asking. They don't KYC their grantees.
Yeah.
So, but I know that like BuilderDAO does. I know Base does. Other entities that are based in the U.S. do. So I guess BVI must have a similar tax structure to Cayman Islands kind of vibe.
I think it does.
It does.
Yeah, I think, they're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, person who wants fork threshold to 0, reveal yourself. Or shut the fuck up. It's my point on that one.
Like, a little aggressive.
That one should not be. I mean, come on. Like,
I don't know if it's the same person.
That, then step up.
Yeah, but if
it's the same person, but somebody commented in the Duna channel almost the exact same wording as that post.
Yeah, I mean, like just back your opinion. It's fine.
I think it's their own opinion, and also it has no danger of passing unless there's a good percentage of people who feel similarly. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have no problem with that proposal being put up.
Yeah, put it up. If you want to put it up, put it up. But like, stand behind it. I'm not. We've seen this before with other controversial props, and people try to put them up anonymously, and I'm never voting yes on a prop that's put up completely anonymously.
I think there's a lot of social capital that you put up to risk to do some of this when you know that he's coming from the Nounders and Noun 40 who have like combined control like 80 votes. Not that they have ever abused them or would, but they do control that many votes. So I don't think it's like unreasonable for someone to put that up if they're scared. It's not me, by the way. I'm not. I'm just. I don't think it's unreasonable for someone to have put that up. And
I do. I honestly do think it's a little unreasonable. I really do. Like, don't. I'm not. To me, this is all about when you're voting on things. A lot of it is trust, and knowing who's behind it is a big part of that trust. So if you're going to step up and say something like this, then say it. Like,
I agree with that.
I don't think there would be any kind of consequences. Honestly, I don't think there'll be backlash. There's more backlash, in my opinion, that you're doing it anonymously. Then you're gonna, it might get tied back to you eventually. And we saw this before with another prop that was the biggest problem with the prop more than anything was like the person wouldn't stand behind it. And if you're not going to stand behind it, then you're definitely not getting my vote.
I agree. I agree in that case. I mean, one thing that's interesting here is that this actually has no sponsoring noun. So that means it was literally put up from a wallet that doesn't even own a noun. That doesn't mean that it was put up by a person that doesn't.
It was a fresh wallet.
Fresh.
Yeah. It was a fresh one.
I don't have a problem with it personally, but I can see why you do. And I also agree with you in most other cases. Like anytime that there has to be like a follow through or delivery on something, it definitely makes sense to have at least a pseudonymous entity that we can hold accountable. 100%. To me, like protocol changes is just like it's basically they've just triggered a referendum. So to me, I don't feel like it needs to be tied to their identity. If they like, you should have the right to speak truth to power or whatever anonymously. Yeah. And if enough people agree, then it doesn't really matter who suggested it. Anyway.
You absolutely have the right to. I'm just saying, I think it's dumb AF. I really do. I really think like if you really feel strongly about this, then stand behind your values and opinion.
And maybe they will. Maybe
I get why, but they have to come out of hiding and stand behind it, especially if you want anybody else to vote with you.
Maybe it's a trial balloon. Maybe they're going to see, and if they see a few people vote for it, then maybe they'll come forward and be like, "This was me. I just didn't want to be like the one lone wolf, whatever." I don't know.
And they should.
As this goes on,
I'd respect them. I'll say this: I'd respect them a lot more if they just put it up there with their name than if they put it like this and kind of in hiding. I just don't like that approach at all. But then again, we've talked about this before. This is not out of character for me at all, because I was also against the private voting research that we wasted money on for the same reason. I don't really care for anonymous voting in Nouncil for the same reason. Like, we should get to a place where there aren't repercussions for standing behind your opinion.
But should people who don't want to be a member of a DUNA have an opportunity to leave?
Sure, absolutely. I do think that there should be a buyout provision, but it should not allow for an ARB. So that's the problem I have with this approach. I do think absolutely, if we vote yes for a DUNA, there needs to be a rage quit for the amount that you put in for your now, whatever that is.
This is what and I'm the same way. I think if we voted for a DUNA, then the mechanism that they describe should be enacted before the change legally is made. Give people time to use that non-ARB opportunity to exit before they. So it's like, hey, we're going to be changing to this legal entity on this date, and you have like a month to decide whether or not you want to hit this button before.
By the way, that's exactly what we did in Builder. There was a period of like a month or maybe even a little longer where because you didn't understand, for those who bought for their Builder token, between token 1 and 70, you could then get a full refund for that
Like
at that moment.
buyer's remorse, basically.
Yeah, because it wasn't clearly listed. It wasn't clear that this was an Una before those folks bought their token.
But what
and
is
that was why we did
what
it.
is that capped at? What if people want to leave and they,
No, it was whatever they bought in at that for builder.
Oh, with
Now,
nouns,
what you're talking about with nouns, I don't know. That might be something to think about, but I still think it should be capped at the amount you paid.
Can I get
there's no arbit.
29 ETH back for my frog? Wah, wah, wah,
Sure.
wah.
Yeah, I think you should be able to. I think it should be whatever you bought in for. I would be fine with that, honestly. I'd rather see that than people grabbing up nouns at 2 and getting 6. Like, I'd much rather people be made whole who want to exit.
I think on its surface,
For
I've
this
always,
reason.
I've always agreed with WAG on that too, that proportional exit makes a lot more sense. But Elad has always maintained that it's like, for some reason, either technically or legally or regulatorily more difficult. But I don't appreciate the detail enough to know why. But yeah, if that's not the case, I do agree.
Regulatory, it seems the exact opposite to me. Like, if you're getting any kind of profit, that to me is a bigger problem than if you're just getting back what you put in. So I don't think it's regulatory. It might be on the technical side. Very, very well could be.
Technical, I can
terms of
understand, but
trying to
yeah,
figure it out.
I'm
Yeah.
with Prof. Regulatory.
Because ours was a very manual process. It was David Kerr like paying people the amount they put in. It was very manual. So I can see that being a big problem. Like, it would have to be more manual than, I don't know that there's a way to do it where it'd be like, oh, you bought it for this amount, here you go. I think technically it would be very difficult to do.
It was so manual that David Kerr left. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much the way that went down. Yep. He burned his tokens and left. Yep.
Well, we shall see what happens with Nouns DAO / Nouns Duna. For anyone who's wondering about what that's all about, you can check out Nouns Duna, DUNA, a channel on Warpcast. There's a post there by the Verbs team, who are a technical team hired by Nouns to sort of work on the protocol. And they've got some thoughts on potentially the foundation of Nouns, which currently holds the IP and the veto for Nouns DAO and is a Cayman Islands corporation, basically shutting down and starting a new entity as a Wyoming Duna domiciled in the United States. And it kind of goes through the pros and cons of that. Lots of pros in terms of like shielding members from potential liability, potentially down the line. Cons are primarily around the fact that you'd have to start KYCing every grant recipient from Nouns. So there's definitely a fear from some, and I would put myself in this camp as well, that there could be a chilling effect of this in terms of attracting builders to the DAO. And the reason I think that is because I saw it happen firsthand in Builder DAO. There was all this interest early on in Builder DAO, and then as soon as they converted to an UNA, which is like a precursor to the Duna, I'm not trying to throw mud or anything, Prof, at what you guys are doing at Builder, but I do think you would admit that there's a chilling effect in terms of how many builders were coming to.
I agree and disagree. So yes, there's definitely a chilling effect, except I don't think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
Because some of the people that we chilled were grifters, to be fair.
Yeah, that's always going to be the case. But I mean, isn't that just like
that.
a bell curve? Like you're going to chill a huge percentage of people, and like, yes, maybe 20% of those people will be grifters, and 20% of those people will be amazing people, builders that you would really want, and the rest are just going to be somewhere in between.
Yeah. So but I don't feel like we really lost. But that's for Builder. That's not necessarily. I don't necessarily. I agree with you more about Nouns than I do for Builder, because I don't think that we lost anything in the process. I think it only helped in terms of making sure that those who are receiving grants are, doing the work, and we, having that little extra friction actually is a good thing for Builder. I don't necessarily think it's the same for Nouns. Not everything is built the same. So we'll see. It could be a bigger chilling effect for Nouns than it is for Builder, for sure.
Yeah. I think the framing from 4156 when he said that this might be Nouns' marshmallow moment I think is interesting because I don't know if that is really what it's going to be testing. Like, I don't think people are going to necessarily, if people vote against it, for example, I don't think they'll be voting against it because of the administrative overhead. Like, I don't think anybody in Nouns actually cares about that because it's a shared treasury and we spend the treasury on all sorts of things like verbs and all these other, things that we spend on a regular basis. I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, the administrative burden, I don't want to pay for that. I think it's really going to come down more to like principles and like people wondering if this is really the direction of Nouns should go, etc. But maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, we'll watch and see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, but I definitely understand the pushback, especially if you're not a U.S. citizen. Totally get it. I really do. And also, the having to dox is, always not great. But for me, if you're in the U.S., it's going to be better protection. So I don't know. We'll just see how it all plays out.
To be fair, you're only doxing to one person, I guess, like
Yeah.
whoever would be tasked with doing that KYC. But even that, just like, is just obviously not permissionless at that point, right? Like,
No. Yeah, I agree. I know.
So.
Yep, I know. You're losing some big aspects of Nouns, and I get that is not comfortable for everybody.
But maybe it's just naive. Like maybe permissionless. Maybe the world's not ready for permissionless organizations. Is that where we're at?
I think our laws are not ready. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's the problem. And with Gary on his little tear at the moment, so that's the other thing. I don't know. I think it might be wise, and I just don't know if that's what's going to happen. But it might be wise to wait till November,
Yeah.
just in case.
I remember hearing the founder of Zcash, which I think Zcash is still around. They were on Bankless podcast at one point, and they were talking about privacy. If you don't know what Zcash is, it was basically like a privacy coin, so a version of Bitcoin, or a version. I don't know if it had smart contracts or not. I don't know enough about Zcoin, but let's just say a version of Ethereum. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but a smart contract enabled coin, or maybe it was a Bitcoin type thing with no smart contracts, but it was privacy based. And one thing he said in this interview was there should be a presumption of privacy, and like that's one thing that we kind of are losing in our society, is like we've gotten to this point where if you tell your friends that people should have financial privacy, they're more likely to say to you, well, then they're just criminals, or they're just doing something wrong. Whereas if you would flash back to like 1950 or 1960 and tell people that they had the right to have privacy, to have cash in their mattress under their bed, they would say, well, of course I do. Like, why wouldn't I? And we've somewhere between 1950 and like now, we've lost this concept of the freedom to transact with privacy. And I do think that that's sad. That's all I'll say. And I say that as someone who does live by the rules and pay taxes and all the other things that you're supposed to do in society, but that's kind of not the point, I guess.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. But then I also think about this on the other side, is that we now have more, even though you may not know who owns that wallet, it is all public. So you have privacy, sort of, right? But if you can connect the wallet to the person, then actually you have less privacy with blockchain. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a weird dichotomy if you think about it. But I agree that you should be able to, do all these things privately. But at the same rate, when you have a DAO, I do think it's a little different. And when I say like I don't like anonymous voting and anonymous things, I mean I don't need to know who you are at all. Like if they're pseudonymous, or even if you just use the same wallet all the time, we know who that wallet belongs to. That's perfectly fine. You should be able to stand behind your opinion on DAO votes and things like that without fearing repercussions. So that's more of a cultural thing.
Opinions, though, like you're not going to be able to just say Symbiotech Canada when you KYC for your grant.
Exactly, and that's a whole different issue, right? I will say that in terms of the way Builder handles this, is that the information goes through a third party who deals with all of that. So we're not holding it in Builder DAO. We're not holding everybody's personal information. It's not held by anybody in the DAO. And that, I think, is a good approach, at least, in terms of protecting that
would be an
access.
interesting question, though, whether or not anyone's ever like changed their name to their ETH address and go in the opposite direction.
Well, funny you
Index
should
posted-
mention
funny.
it.
Index posted like 2 weeks ago. He was thinking of changing his legal name to Index Card. First name
I
Index,
think
last
Hipro
name
is
Card.
much better for him, actually.
I heard.
Yeah, gross.
I heard his girlfriend caught wind of that and told him no way.
Yeah, I think she doesn't want to be Mrs. Card. Is that what you're saying? They did just get engaged, and she's like, no.
She's actually going to change her name to Playing.
Yeah,
Index and
to
playing
rectangle.
Card.
Yeah, I can't wait to have a little. They have a little baby credit. It's going to be great.
Before
Ah,
we get too
Jesus
far away from
Christ.
Duna stuff, 4156 just hopped in the Nouncil Discord and said, "I understand there's a Nouncil call tomorrow. What time is it at? I can stop by to discuss Duna if that would be helpful."
There you go.
Okay, then. But also, how does 4156 not know when the council call is?
I mean,
And
It's been 2.5 years.
yeah, 10 o'clock a.m. EST.
it has not changed ever.
It hasn't changed since
That might be
March
the only
2022.
meeting in the Nouniverse that has not changed in like
It
2.5
has not changed. The location has not changed. The time has not changed.
The
day of
location
week has not
changed.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, it did. I apologize. You're right. Well,
Wait, what do you mean? How did it change?
We used to hold Nouncil calls in the
Nouns.
Nouns Discord, and now we hold them in the
she's right.
dedicated
Yeah.
Nouncil Discord.
Yeah, she's right. She's right.
Yeah,
Well,
Got sashes too.
I was there, Gandalf.
mm,
You don't have your
stop
sash.
giving out. Stop giving out POAPs too.
Two of you were in Nouncil before I was. What the hell?
Yeah, we were.
Why am I
We
the one?
forgot?
I
We
blocked that.
forgot. We forgot. I'm sorry.
And I think Seneca said he wanted to come by too, to at least
this should
listen
be
to the
interesting.
Duna talk
What, Seneca or Zeneca? These are two very different people.
with an S.
Seneca
Okay.
with a-
They're both gonna come, actually.
I
They're
was
gonna
like,
be-
why is
Not
Zeneca
Liza
showing
with
up?
a Z. Not
Seneca
Liza with a
versus
Z. It's
Seneca.
Seneca with an S.
Fight!
Wait,
Not
hang on,
all
I can do
C's,
that.
Not
Seneca.
Liza with a Z.
Seneca versus Seneca. Fight!
Do you think this will work for the Twitter algorithm? Like it'll now be shown to Zeneca? Our live stream?
I don't know. Maybe.
If we want to show it to Zeneca, we can just DM him. Like all of
You
us
just
know.
have to say his
Do
name
that
3
too.
times like
You were
Beetlejuice.
just mentioned on 9 o'clock live 822. Log in to find out. That's what.
Seneca.
No, that would be
Seneca.
some good AI. That would be some really good AI.
That would be the first
grab
time
the
that it's been
timestamp.
useful.
That would be impressive. That would be really impressive.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then he
boy.
clicks in and he's
So
like,
that'll
"Wow,
be
I
fun
can't believe I was
chat
mentioned
tomorrow.
on 9 o'clock. How? I wonder what about me they were talking about." And then they just us shit posting about him getting into a Street Fighter match with.
One thing that'll be interesting tomorrow
Carton of milk.
will be Bix Bite, because Bix Bite is very against the Duna from what I heard her say last week. So it'll be interesting to hear Bix Bite going toe to toe against 4156 on the Duna. If you want to tune in to see that match.
Yeah,
matchup.
so here's what we're gonna do.
By
That
the
match
way,
is
she's
actually gonna be
probably
live
also-
on the Noun Square. It's gonna be pay-per-view this time, but
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, you have to join Carlos's paid
Yeah,
alpha
if
group.
you're a member of Carlos's paid off group, then you don't have to pay. Exactly.
yeah,
It's-
yeah,
it's
yeah. That
$5
really good.
USDC as distributed by Webcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, God,
So there'll be
funny.
25
Me
people there.
and Nounish Prof have a deal. I send her 5 USDC per day, and she sends it back the next day. So
True.
technically, we are in the Farcaster Illuminati now. So
I have a I am prepared for this battle. Just so that we're clear, like I am absolutely queuing this up at some point tomorrow
on the
on the Nouncil
By
call.
the way-
Yes.
By the way, when is the Nouncil meeting? It's always changing, so I can never remember what day.
God
it's
damn it,
on.
Tony. 10 a.m.
it's
EST
Thursdays at
every
10 a.m.
Thursday.
Oh, right.
10
yes.
10 a.m. Eastern
It's happening
time,
right
7
now.
a.m. Pacific time.
It's happening right now.
Happening
Go.
right
go,
now
go.
in the old Nouns Discord.
You know what? Well, you know what we
It
need?
never changes, but it actually changes time twice per year. Once in the fall and once in the
That's
spring.
true. That's true.
So,
But not really.
lying.
You know what would be great? Can we have a prop bet as to how long this call goes?
Oh god.
And will it beat the record? I don't think it'll beat the record.
I don't know what the
but-
record is, but it probably will go.
18, I think it was 18 hours.
Oh god. There's no
Yeah,
need.
something
I'll, tell you, I'll go on the record and say there's no need for an 18-hour meeting.
No,
I'll
there's
beat
never
you. I'll do
there's-
you one better. There is no need for an Nouncil call to last longer than 1 hour.
You know that
Yep,
meme?
I
You know
I
that
don't
meme that's
care how many proposals there are. If you cannot get your idea for your proposal out in 5 minutes or less, figure out how and then pitch it to
But that has nothing to do or very little to do with the person running the meeting.
I know, but I
Oh,
need to.
It is.
Yeah.
It's sometimes very hard to cut people off. I've been in that position as well.
Is it?
So, yeah.
It can
Yeah,
be.
you know. It can be.
No,
You
I
know that
don't,
meme-
because if somebody keeps talking when I don't want them to, I just.
Yeah, this is true.
Translations. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that
You know
too.
that
Yeah.
meme, this meeting could have been an email. I feel like that 18-hour
Yeah.
announcement meeting is like this meeting could have been at least a short novella. Like you could have,
this meeting could have been 18 episodes of Zero Rights Reserved, and that is a problem.
That's a problem.
this meeting could have been some kind of a manga. I don't know.
This meeting
By
could
the
have
way,
been
do you have any
a
idea-
marathon and a half of the Lord of the Rings extended editions.
Do you have any
Congratulations,
idea
or
how
I'm sorry
much
that happened.
the fact that 4156 is going to be at the Council meeting is going to freak out Vic Spite? That's gonna be fun.
Oh, she was talking about she was nervous before hosting them.
She's gonna freak out. I'm gonna
We have
I'm gonna
to
poke her
try to
right
have
now.
some TNS history with 4156 talking about the Discord wind down.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Can't put
Yeah.
on the spot. Well, I think it's good that he's coming because I think it will be a good place to
Yeah, for
discuss. And Council, Call for Better or Worse, has been the place where people have spent the most time discussing important issues at Nouns in a public forum. So, you know, I have to give credit where credit's due. Like, it's not really happening anywhere else. We've tried to make it happen at TNS, and we do talk about it a lot here, but you know, you don't get a lot of Nouners on one place really ever to talk about things, and that's just the way it is.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think it'll be good. So 10 o'clock tomorrow, if you care about the Duna, you want to hear more about it, the Nouncil Discord is the place to be. Brett's going to post a link to the Nouncil Discord above, so you can join it if you enjoyed it already. Please, Brett, if you can.
I'll try.
That would be great. We were going to talk about props, but then we got sidetracked a million times.
Then we rambled for an hour.
Yeah, but we can just maybe do a quick summary of what is on the docket. We've talked about some of these already earlier this week, but we've got Nouns plush by the creators of Ugly Doll from Mr. David Horvath. I see David down in the crowd. David, if you want to come up and say a quick few words on the new iteration of the prop, by all means, just put your hand up and we'll be happy to bring you up. But the voting for that is now open, and I think there's 1.5 days left or so to vote on Nouncil. So if you haven't voted for David's prop on Nouncil, go and do that now if you're an Nouncilor before that time expires. And the DAO has just started voting. 5 votes out the gate, 4 and 3 votes against. So we'll see how it goes. But so far it is ahead. Prop 6.
By the way, Toady, just really quick, I just noticed that the nuclear fusion reactor did get defeated. So I have faith in us again.
So I want to see who voted for. Yeah, let's talk about that for a quick second. Who voted for and against the Nouns Fuser? I actually have been kind of busy on the home front and forgot to vote on this one. I did have some.
I voted in Nouncil, and then I was like, it's not going to pass anyway. They'll see my vote with reason.
I feel like imagine like right before we incorporate into a Duna, Nouns ends up getting wiped off the face of the earth because of a liability suit for some fusion reactor that explodes a country off the face of the map. But yeah, anyways, so we had who voted against. A lot of people voted against, but I'm curious about the block. Nouncil voted against. I want to see if there's any. It's mostly just a lot of individuals and Nouncil that voted against. We didn't get a vote from.
And I do think a lot of people probably didn't vote just because they were like, okay, this isn't going to pass. That
was where I was at.
Move on. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I'll give them that.
Prof, you, me, and Riley have my favorite vote with reasons on this, and they're all from Nouncil.
Yeah.
Let's Prof's was, where do I start? No idea if this is legal or assuming there'll be issues here. Also, the prop is lacking in specificity, to say the least. Also, how does it benefit Nouns? No. Just no. Mine was
that was my
1.
What? I could have gone on a lot longer, but I was like, I can't. This
I know.
Is insane.
Oh, no, I understand.
Prof is like, this is not the way to go about trying to get a power badge.
Yeah.
This is not like Scouts where you have to make a fusion reactor to get a power badge. You've misunderstood the assignment.
I'm so upset.
I did forget to insert, Homer inside reactor
Boom!
GIF here. Yeah, that's what I forgot to put at the end.
Do I look like
Anyway.
I know what a JPEG? Anyway, but and then I was like, honestly, part of me wants to vote for the meme, but as long as this prop kind of, but as far as this prop kind of goes, beyond interesting, weird, and into trolling, at least for me, getting any advice from an LLM without doing actual research and citing verifiable sources is a giant crimson flag all on its own. And then Riley's just took it to the next level with absolutely sparkle emojis ravenous. Truly unmatched. Watch out for my next prop soon, turning my Web 2 jobs ice machine into a machine that only dispenses noggle-shaped flavorless jelly cubes with one line of ChatGPT code.
I don't think there's any need to
Oh my
bully.
god.
I think it's a very weird proposal, and we want weird proposals and nouns. So
That was
I
a
don't think
4 vote.
okay, well, let's get through these props.
All
Let's
right,
get through
sorry,
these props.
Tony, to get you off track there, but I just had to note because that
Take
was
these-
an amusing prop.
It's gonna take me 15 minutes just to get through each prop if we keep going off track like this. Let's just get
That
through
was
these
that.
quickly.
Listen, that one deserved going off track, but let's continue.
All right, we've got Noggles, $ Noggles contract audit. We talked about that at length yesterday. Not going to dig into that on this show. We talked about Nounish Legends, a physical TCG at DevCon. That has now received 54 votes against, so I don't think it's going to be possible for that one to pass in its current form. They'll have to iterate if they'd like to come back to the DAO. We've got positive sum piracy from Gami, which we've also talked about on the show in recent days. Currently at 48 votes against 16 for. I think what happened since yesterday is a bunch of Nouncil votes have
Correct.
come through, and Nouncil has voted against this one. So again, going to be pretty tough. Basically, the way the climate is right now, if you don't get Nouncil on board, you can maybe pass with Noun 40, but otherwise it's going to be pretty difficult. You need one or the other, or a lot of groundswell support from a lot of
Or the
individuals.
Nounders, if the Nounders decide.
The
they wanna
Nounders don't
vote.
vote. I mean, the Nounders have literally
They haven't
only
been voting lately. Yeah.
prop, and it was basically a soft veto of the original Noun swap proposal. Is the only time the Nounders have voted since the fork with their Nounder nouns.
Although I did get 4156 votes
Yes,
on my
Four,
swap.
five,
just
six
saying.
votes
Yeah,
sometimes.
I was gonna say.
35 whopping nouns, so that sometimes may happen. But all right, and then we've got Nouns Beyond Screens, the sequel from Nero One and Vodes, who I think have both become nouners since episode 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool to see. And we've got 50 votes for so far and 9 votes against. I need to get my vote in for this one. I think what they're doing is really cool, really creative. They're making some really cool IRL impact in their part of the world, and that's pretty cool to me. So yeah, that's all the props that are currently live. So it's really not that bad. I mean, it seems like a lot, but honestly, if you've been on the show recently, Prof, we've had days where it's been like 10 or 15 props that are live and ready for voting. So this is kind of like a mild week,
Yeah,
actually. or
and all
medium.
3 of the pending props too, like Unstake 1,000 ETH, that's pretty self-explanatory, and then 2 Noundry trait ads,
Yes, which
again,
oh yeah,
self-explanatory.
So bunk bed is interesting. I like that one. It's kind of cool. It'll be interesting to see these two go head to head because Abacus is actually quite a nice noun as well. I really like it, but it's from someone who's a bit less known, Nadi, who has been doing a lot of art in the Nouniverse. He's been
A
participating
lot of rounds.
for a while. He's done a lot of yellow art contests and whatnot. So I think it's cool that they've sort of graduated themselves to be throwing.
Did Toady cut off mid-sentence for anyone else, or was that just...
So like adding an actual head to the protocol. Oh, am I gone?
Oh,
You.
no, you're
That
back.
was just you. Go ahead.
Just me. I'm back. I
No,
never
you're
left.
back. You're here.
Uh,
The stream
anyways,
couldn't hear you,
so
though,
it'll
so
be-
repeat yourself anyway.
It'll be interesting to see because I think that in the past, Noundry proposals have been equal parts who the artist is and equal parts what the art is. And so it helps a lot to be someone like Amiyoko who's already had art added to the protocol. So in that way, they've kind of like passed a certain check. But I really like the idea of people who have just been like really active in the Nouniverse. And I saw some of Nadi's earlier noun heads too, and some of them weren't that great when they first started doing pixel art, but now they've really become refined and he's really getting good at it. So it would be kind of a neat story to see someone like
There were some in the Yellow Collective, if I remember correctly, in the head contest for that. And but no, this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, but I promise it is not meant as one. they weren't as good as the one as this abacus. Like just straight
Yeah,
up,
they're
like
getting
this is this is so much improvement. It looks really nice.
And pixel art is like that, actually. Pixel art is an art form that is very simple, but also very hard to do very well. And the more you practice at it, the better you get. Unless you're Brett, because Brett's already perfect at it. That's what I meant. He's already amazing.
Nice
Wait,
save.
you were talking about when 4156 voted on stuff before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Squirt gun voted against.
Wah, wah, wah. Oh well, I like Squirt Gun. It's one of the most popular, if not the most popular head in Yellow Collective. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I know this firsthand because we had like 3 of them in the prize vault, and so every time someone won a contest where they had to choose from our prize vault, they would every single time choose the Squirt Gun. So, I don't know what that tells you, but people like the Super Soaker when they have to choose from it against a bunch of other heads. So
Yeah, but it's violent. Tony. You can't
Everyone
have
loves
violence
water
in
gun
nouns.
fights. Come on.
I think we needed more people talking at the same time. Can we all try? There's 7 of us on. 1, 2, 3.
I'm good at talking over everybody, but nobody else joined but me. All right, well.
Well, we do have David Horvath here, and he's been very patiently listening to us ramble. So I'd love to go over to David to give us a quick summary of some of the changes on this version of his proposal from the last. Hello, David. Are you there? Yes, sir.
Amazing. Thank you for having me up. I'll be super brief. I'm pretty sure everyone has it in there, knows what it is. So the summary is we're going up against Sanrio and Snoopy, Miffy, Moomin. What else? Yes, we're entering the lifestyle character brand world, or we did already, and it was a hit. We put up a nouns section of high quality goods at Loft, the Shibuya location. I'm sorry, the Ginza location in Tokyo, and the plush of the Cloud Noun, which was designed by the Ugly Doll designer and made from Ugly Doll fur and made in the Ugly Doll factory. Everything sold out, but that sold out the fastest. We had far more of that than anything else. And then while it was under glass, the one single one left was in the display and received more inquiries. Actually, we use these stores for a, kind of like the proving ground to see if we want to move forward with things in Japan specifically. And that outsold almost anything we've ever put in there, ever. So we would like to make more. The original prop was we're going to insert this and a mini version of it that hangs from your bag and a bag that we'll pay for on our own dime. But we were going to insert that plush into the entire global Ugly Doll specialty and museum store network. At least try to get into, even just half or maybe even 25% of the 7,500 or so stores that would make up of. I think that the ask was too big in general for some people. And so, sorry, I'm picking up my kid at school. Hey, buddy. So instead, we're going to just start with Japan and then grow from there. So it'll be the same plan, just it'll take several years longer. And that's it. If anyone has any questions, that's what we're doing. And when I say we're taking on Snoopy, it just means 90% of Snoopy's activity is in the lifestyle character brand space. Some, especially in North America, Canada, etc., may think of Snoopy as the Hallmark store or the old Christmas special or, the Halloween special or the Snoopy snow cone machine. But really, it's a lifestyle character brand for women. And so is Moomin, and so is Miffy, and most of what Sanrio does. And so we're entering that realm. That's where we've operated for the last 20 years, growing brands from zero to what they do. And that's it. Hello.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And if you guys missed it, I'm gonna butt in with a self shill. David came on ZeroPod with us on our previous episode that you can find at zeropod.xyz. I definitely recommend going and giving a listen. We got a little bit of the backstory on David growing up and creating Ugly Doll, and some background information on his first nouns proposal, etc. So it was a good chat, and might be worth giving you some context on this prop before you vote.
Yes, I very much enjoyed that. Thank you, and thank you for having me up.
Thanks for coming, and best of luck in the voting.
While
Make
you
sure
were
hide-
talking, David, by the way, I've been scrolling through the proposal on the stream. So if you have not read this prop yet, set aside some time. It is beefy, but it is absolutely worth the read. There's a lot of information here. Honestly, regardless
very
of
much.
whether
Thanks for taking one.
you have any voting power or not, I think it's worth a read. It's a lot to learn from, this entire thing. So
Incidentally, that used to be the headline for my Tinder bio.
there's a
Beefy
lot to
but
learn from this entire thing.
No. Beefy
That's
but with
funny.
the weed is actually.
Incredible.
So I have a question if you guys want to talk about it.
Swipe left. Quickly swipe.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah,
think just.
mine is hard to dislike, but worth the effort. So
Can confirm.
Sorry, Joshua. Go ahead.
No, it's interesting with nouns and how many different domains that it touches and the expertise of different people in different domains. It's interesting to see like how much should we trust experts, or how much should we expect of experts to explain the nuances of their expertise to the DAO in a way. Those type of questions are kind of interesting to me, and something I'm considering a lot over these last couple of weeks.
I'll have to do all the explaining. I'm just sending people towards you. That's
Well, David, this is really for the DAO, like a question for the DAO in general. Because and you're not the only one that faces this challenge or has this, need in front of them of like having to explain, even, Tody, I know, like, to explain all of the things that we do at TNS can be challenging, and we're talking every single day to the DAO.
I'm tired, boss. I mean,
yeah.
you know that.
I think there is a balance to be struck here, though, and I think it is possible to do as it is, like without having the information up front of what is necessary, and that is to understand. You don't need to understand DAO voters. You need to understand people, and what I mean by that is, regardless of structure, in this case it's a DAO, but whenever people have any sort of governance control, whether that be voting in an election, for local government or national or whatever, or if they're, voting in student council, anytime anybody has any sort of governmental power, that you are going to see a variation of how much people are going to either want to pay attention or be able to pay attention to what's going on. And I think it's important to structure props that way. So you front row, you put everything in front, and I've said this before in the show a dozen times now, you put everything at the beginning that is the absolute basics of what you're doing and why in a 5th grade reading level. And people who are going to skim through the rest of the prop are going to read the TLDR, they're going to read 2 paragraphs in, and they're going to make their decision. The people who actually care...
I use ChatGPT and I say, please double the grade level of everything I've written, and that gets me there.
No, but genuinely, and it's and I've said again, like I am repeating myself a little bit, but for the sake of people who haven't heard it before, like when I say put it at a 5th grade reading level, I'm not saying that the people who are reading the props are stupid. Far from it. The point is that people tend to engage in governance. I mean, for most people, engaging in nouns governance is not their main job. So people tend to engage in governance when they are tired from doing
You're
other
not doing
things.
this full time? No?
I am. I don't know, but most people aren't. So you have to sort of meet them halfway and understand that people are going to be reading nouns proposals at the same time they're going to be checking their email, which is going to be either early in the morning before they go to work, at noon-ish when they are taking lunch and their brain is taking a break from being on for, getting their income, or after work when they're already tired.
They're reading the proposals and the emails, and they're using the washroom at the same time. So it's
Exactly.
actually,
And it's all like it piles up. And it's not that they can't read above a fifth grade reading level. It's that is the level at which you can maximize comprehension while minimizing effort. And so you put the front of the prop in that as, fifth grade reading level, simple as possible, and just explain the absolute basics. And then there are always going to be people who do want to know more, who want to understand more about, like, oh, well, who is this person? Why are they an expert in this? What is this? Why are they saying that this is the way that is? And you put that further down in the proposal, and you do explain your point of view on this as an expert, and you give context for your expertise, which I think David has done in this proposal brilliantly. And the people who are curious, who really care and who want to know more and who have the energy are going to read further.
what you can
It's
do,
really
this is-
fascinating.
This is a toady pro tip. What you can do is you can synthesize the entire prop down to like 100 words,
Mhm.
more or less, and then you make all 100 words your title. And then you go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you just break things all
You break-
around.
This man
because-
is
yeah.
keyed in right now. I love it.
Other people are built
No, but
different. We're built
it's just, like,
stupid.
so-
There's
it's such like like nouns is just so fascinating, even when it's frustrating, like, because there's just so many different social experiments, and like you're seeing so many different sides of problems come out. I just find it so fascinating all the time.
I agree, Joshua. And also, I agree with you, Robot Fish Girl, that the way I read props is I read, I start at the top and read the TLDR and get the gist, and then I go down to the transactions to see what's going on there and the budgets and team, and then I'll go back and read the rest if
Mhm.
I need to. But
Maybe.
sometimes
That's
I
so
don't even
funny.
need
It
to
should-
go
yeah,
any
it should be
further.
TLDR, how much does it cost?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
everything else.
She
Yeah, 'cause
basically
I need to read it with the thought of what's the ask in mind as I read the rest of it, because otherwise, like, that to me gives me a lot of information as to what's going on.
Yeah.
Prof Word
Yeah,
also
like if the ask is too little or too big, it already sets you up like, oh, the thing that they want to do isn't possible for this, or it's like should be possible for less. And then if it's in that sweet spot, you want to dig in, right?
Yeah, exactly. What were you gonna say, Tony?
Oh, I was just gonna say that you also eat burgers in a very weird way. You eat the top of the bun, the bottom of the bun, and then the burger last.
How did you know? How did you know?
Very interesting way of thinking.
Yeah, it's true. And only plain with no fruits or vegetables. Yep.
Wait, why do I
Who
feel like
hurt
this is
you?
a true thing?
That part is true. I've
What
seen it,
what
and
Sorry,
it worries
what
me.
weight are you putting on burgers on a
Wrong
regular
stream.
basis?
Wrong stream. We talked
Wait,
about
tomatoes are fruits. So I think that's
we tend to bring up
probably-
fruits and vegetables.
I'm guessing it's the tomato and not a mango, because that would be a weird.
I heard something about tomatoes actually, that
the
they're
kiwi.
like biologically a fruit, but like
No,
colloquially like
Well,
they're like
you know what?
officially
I-
a vegetable as
No,
well.
I just want to say we do not judge on 9 o'clock live. If a tomato wants to be biologically a fruit,
you know that 9 o'clock live accepts fruits because here I am. No, but there's a
Oh, God.
look. The joke was there. I had to make it. But there, no. What, Josh? I think what you're talking about is that there's important difference between intelligence and wisdom, which is that intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom is not putting one in a fruit salad.
God damn it, Robot Fish Girl, if you make us listen to another chart about what's a salad and what's not a salad.
It has been over a year since I went on a salad theory rant. I am not apologizing anymore.
We have two rules on this show: no salad, no more fish. We got both of those things for the rest of the year. Please
By the time the
respect.
show ends, we're gonna have like an entire rule book of things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, for some reason
I'm gonna
they're
be
only-
I am gonna have to make a soundboard that has pre-recorded lines because I'm not gonna be able to talk about anything else other than just making noises.
This one's gone a little off the rails.
You
should I,
think?
Those are the best ones. I'm looking at.
should we see if David wants to share anything else as we're
I'm
driving
looking
him
at our
crazy?
topics of
with our-
conversation today, and
our-
God, like we didn't make it through any of them. But I do feel like we had some good discussions though about Duna and about some of these interesting things happening. Maybe we can just take a breeze through. Well, sorry, I'll give David the last word on his prop, and then we'll just do a quick breeze through some of the things we casted people earlier that we were going to talk about today, and then promptly bait and switch them when they arrived. So, David, go ahead. If you wanted to say something, last moment word about your prop. Oh, maybe. Yeah, he is doing a lot
Well,
of
he can't talk right
heart
now.
emojis. He's doing heart emojis and 100 emojis. So I think that's the way I
I
would.
think I nailed it. Yeah, he's in the
Nailed
he's
it.
in,
Now he's
he's in
crying.
pickup. He's
He's
in
crying
kids pickup
now. I
mode.
think he's gotten into some sort of a fender bender because of you.
Oh, that could be it as well. Joshua, maybe you want to. I know you've been a big proponent of this prop, so I don't know if you want to add any comments about it.
No, I mean, I think a lot of it, the thing that's like been interesting to me, some of these props is seeing like how much people do or don't know about the things that have happened in nouns. How much does that even matter? Like at the end of the day, like what happened in the past, and like who like thinks the what is important to nouns like 6 months ago like isn't necessarily important to nouns today. So it's like it's interesting for me to think about the props in the process. That's the thing that's been probably the most fascinating to me. And in terms of this, prop itself, I just really want to see nouns in Giant Robot. I think having Sunmin create something for nouns is like a dream come true, and having David and Sunmin together and like having like that just all sounds like something. If you were to write like a story about nouns, that would definitely make it in there because it's just like really cool and legendary and fun. And so
Yeah,
I think it's like
we talk a lot on this show about props building the lore of nouns, and I tend to agree that like if you came up with like a top 10 things that nouns has done, it's really cool to me if it's really diverse. If it's like a couple art projects and a couple protocol projects and a couple IRL projects and then this plush doll and then like just a combination of different things that really shows how broad of an impact a headless brand can actually have, which is kind of the whole experiment.
Top 10 nouns accomplishments. Number 9, prevented nuclear Armageddon.
4156 was actually looking for the props that people
That's
consider
funny.
exemplary. So if you have an
Saw that
opinion,
post. Yeah, go drop it in there.
Yeah, go tell him TNS is the lifeblood of nouns.
Yeah, if any
Don't
of us
tell him-
did it, it'd be.
I think
tell him we
I
sent
think the
you.
answer is very obvious. It was the bidet.
Yeah, nouns bidet.
Obviously.
I feel like you're all forgetting moonbeams.
Moonbeams was actually very impactful in its own.
It was very impactful in
It
its
was.
way.
Yeah,
And
I
if
was
we
good
ever
when Josh
see
was
them-
talking about the way that the DAO has evolved and how we've wanted different things from like 6 months ago from now. I was gonna say pretty much the only thing that has maintained its importance is moonbeams.
The only thing that old and new members alike can agree on. Moonbeams.
You know what would be funny is if the Duna gets voted in, and then Moonbeams surfaces, and they're like, in light of recent events, we will no longer be able to make the beans or something like this.
Like we were just about
We
to
were
lose it.
totally
But since you
right in the
changed
middle.
Liga
We were
and
getting
Duna,
ready
it's
to
now.
announce.
Right in the middle of stirring the beans, and then someone came in
Here-
and was like, "Did you see about this Duna thing?"
Here's what you guys are forgetting to take into consideration with the moonbeams. Beans are very much like bourbon. So we're going to get 20-year-old aged beans. And they're going to be
I don't know if that's a true statement.
I don't think that's a good plan.
Although I'm not a bean. I'll go out there and say I'm not a big bean eater. I don't even like beans in chili. I know people are gonna come for me for that, but I was making chili recently, and I usually like cook beans separately so my wife can put them in her chili. Okay, but I had an issue where I went into the cupboard and I was like taking out beans, and there was no expiry date on any of these beans, and so I ended up like throwing out like 3 cans of beans because they looked weird. And then my wife came in, she's like, "Beans don't expire, like they never expire." I had no idea that was a thing. I was like,
Canned
"What?
beans don't expire. Yeah.
They were
I
canned
think
beans."
pretty much anything in a can last for a very, very long time.
I was just like worried about giving my family botulism, but apparently you can just keep beans forever. So there
Canned
you go.
beans,
Maybe
yeah, well-
beans- Maybe
There's
moon
no
beans.
canned beans are like hermetically sealed. There's no way for bacteria to proliferate.
Well, yeah, unless they weren't sealed, right? So I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, yes, if they weren't sealed, but you would notice
Yes, if
because
there's a
they'd be
hole in your
leaking.
can.
well,
So what
anyways,
Joshua is
I'm just
saying
saying I was
that
today
the
years old
beans are
last year.
being the beans are being they're being dry aged. They're cultivated.
Dry aged
There's
on the
like
moon.
a
They're
whole
actually on the
building.
moon. They've actually partnered with Elon. They've sent a package of the beans.
We're
to the
never
moon. They're
getting
being
him back.
And when they do come back, they will be actually like 100% moonbeams. It was actually a surprise. They didn't want to tell us, but
Yeah.
it's a little extra work.
So much
to get
more
beans
sense now.
to the moon. Yeah,
That's the new lore. That's the new lore.
Mike, what's the
They're
dude?
going up
Mike Mongo with
with Mike
the
Mongo.
upside down.
Yeah, with Mike
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 Mongo.
Mongo is
Mongo
taking them up
is
into space.
secretly
There you
working.
go.
unfortunately, the return trip for the beans was scheduled on an Airbus.
Was
So
was it being handled by Boeing?
it's been rescheduled to 2029, but we do hope that we eventually get the moonbeams back.
Honestly, I still find the Boeing story inspiring because sometimes, when you're working, especially if you're working in an office, you might feel unimportant, but you might just feel like another cog in the machine. But if you reframe it just slightly, you could be just another screw on the plane, and that is significant.
Yeah, it could be
You could be holding the door on.
Okay,
I
listen,
mean,
I have to.
in all fairness, though, every one person can have an impact.
Yeah. No, that's exactly the point. We've been here for an hour and 25 minutes, and I feel like Cody is
Joshua
going to
getting all-
die if
getting
we
all
stay
No,
on.
Very,
I have to leave
very
in 5
deep
minutes.
thoughts.
I
Yeah.
have to leave in 5. I have to leave in 5 minutes to go get my son from daycare. So let me do a speed run through the things that we promised people we were going to talk about, but then never did, and then I'll leave you guys to deal with the aftermath. All right, we wanted to remind people that Shark Pickle Cone, the documentary about nouns that was made by Stupid Buddy, the creators of Robot Chicken. See, I didn't say Robot Fish Girl. I usually mess that up.
They did not create me.
Creator of Robot Chicken, the beloved show from the 2000s, 90s. Anyways, it was from our childhood. Amazing show, amazing people. They made a documentary about nouns. It features Robot Fish Girl, not Robot Chicken, and it also features lots of other people from the Nouniverse. So go watch
To
it.
be fair,
is
it does
premiering
also
August-
feature Robot Chicken.
Yes, that's true. Well, you can go find it on X. I think the link is going to be above in the nest if it's not already. Go and watch it, support it, share it. They put a lot of love, a lot of work into it, and it's really quite an awesome documentary. Or try tying your significant other down and asking them to watch the Nouns documentary followed by the Ethereum film tonight, and let us know how that goes. Ethereum film by Linda Z and Co is also premiering today worldwide. So go check that out. Make sure you put that on your list to watch. DWR and V. We'll have to dig into this probably tomorrow when we have a little less on the agenda, but they did just announce recently that there are changes coming to Warpcast channels with an eye to making them more like cozy corners rather than hashtags. And there was a good discussion about this on the Late Night Crew yesterday, which normally airs on Wednesday nights on Tavern here. With Zinger. If you don't follow Zinger and YB over on Warpcast, give them a follow. They have a really cool show on Wednesday nights talking all about Farcaster stuff. But it was on Tuesday night this week because
We also had a good discussion with DWR directly
oh nice
on this last Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, on last Friday
So-
on GM Farcaster.
Dan Parcaster. Yeah.
Okay, good. So go check that out. I might even check that out because I kind of want to see where their heads are at. But it sounds like some changes are coming down the line where the culture may change a little bit in terms of like you won't be necessarily being encouraged to cast into channels in order for distribution to come to your cast. It'll be more so like you'll go to channels to use them as a community. This may not change things for some of us who most of us use up here on the stage use channels in more of a community fashion anyway. Like we use the Nouns channel, for example, as kind of like a sufficiently decentralized Reddit more than anything. And in Yellow, we do similarly. Like it's kind of where our community gets together and meets. But you might see less of like, oh, I'm going to cast this into reply guys to get more likes, and maybe the algorithm will change and just sort of deal with things on an individual basis. But like I said, we don't really have time to dig into this particular change on this show. Maybe we'll go over it in more detail tomorrow, and I might give that episode with DWR a watch, Prof, before tomorrow, so we can chat more about that.
I just pinned it up.
Oh,
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. Daily reminder to check rounds.wtf. The retro round is ending imminently. It might even be ended now. It was ending this afternoon. So if you didn't get your applications in for Nouns Retro for building something for Nouns, go do that. There's a couple other rounds that are open for Nouns animators, of course. Nouns Draws Base has a new round for people who are at Token 24. So just generally make sure you go check at least a couple times a week at rounds.wtf, sign in with your wallet or your Farcaster account, and it will tell you which rounds you're eligible to participate in. You can get free money essentially for doing what you're doing already on the Purple app. So don't miss out on that. Speaking of Token 24, we had Vitalik serenading Token attendees. Was an interesting thing on the news recently where he was singing to them. I can't really describe it. You have to just.
And if you missed that, you can watch that at the end of today's GM Farcaster.
Oh, did you guys play it? Are you guys starting to do that thing that Bankless does where they play like a meme on the way out?
No, we just do that every once in a while if it's relevant. And that was pretty funny.
Well, Prof is the only person we allow to come up on stage and mercilessly show her show because it is a very good show. And it's complimentary to your diet here at 9 o'clock live. So go watch that and you'll be able to see Vitalik serenading. And some people are saying that that's bearish for ETH. But if anyone thought that Vitalik wouldn't serenade a group of people at Token 24, they didn't understand ETH in the first place. So ETH has always been pretty silly in that fashion. So I think it's completely on brand.
I mean, he wasn't wearing a buffacorn.
Exactly. It was like 10 times more normal than what it would have been at ETH Denver for sure.
It's not unusual.
Oh my God.
And finally, remember to get your tickets for Nouns Fest and Nouns Town. Nouns Fest being the animation festival and Nouns Town being the conference for nouns that is being held around it in LA next month on the 12th in that week. So make sure you get those tickets. And that is it. That's all we had
you can't
to go through. And now I literally have to sign off and run to go grab my son. But it was nice chatting with all of you. Nice to see your face, Joshua Fisher and Prof. Thanks for joining us. And I see some new people in the audience too. Thanks for joining us down there. We do the show every single day, whether you like it or not. And we'll be back here tomorrow for 9 o'clock live, 8:23 around the same bad time, same bad channel. Bye. Oh, since Prof is here and shilling GM Farcaster, maybe I could just steal her sign off. Is that okay, Prof?
Go right ahead. It's CCO.
Bye-bye.
Well then, I don't have anything to add to that. I was going to say something about how the schedule that we
And you
planned.
thought the show was over.
And you
Nope.
thought the show was over. No, it is. I'm getting music for it right now. But yes, thank you everybody for coming to 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. Contrary to what Tody said, we are actually going to be starting at 3:10 p.m. EST. That's just after noon PST tomorrow. So not quite the same bad time, but definitely the same bat channel. And with that done,
Can we get the official Nounish Prof?
the official Nounish Prof what?
Yeah, I mean, we got the Toady Hawk version, but having the real deal Holyfield is.
And with that, bye-bye.
Don't forget to check out Nomo Now number 1253. Don't forget to check out the Yellow Collective at yellowcollective.xyz. Thank you to everybody on YouTube, Twitter for joining us today. If you want to check out everything that we talked about today, all of the links are pinned in the tavern, so don't forget to check out the description on YouTube and Twitter for that. With that said, we'll be back here tomorrow, 3:10 p.m. EST, just after noon PST. Otherwise, be on broadcast on Twitter, no Facebook.